Hello YouTubers, welcome back to our channel, Smishak's Custom Baits. Rick Smishak here. Today we're not going to be making baits per se. Although I will be shooting a mold, I'm going to be showing you how to modify a mold. Okay. That said, this mold costs $54.50. Single cavity mold, has some denting issues, and we're going to try to fix those. Right now, if you're not comfortable with the possibility of ruining a mold and having to buy a new one, then I would highly recommend just watching this for entertainment value and don't try to do it yourself. Okay. I'm comfortable with the fact that if I ruin this one mold, I have two single cavity molds of this, right? If I ruin one, I still have one more and I can get another one, so I'm not terribly worried about it. Although I am going to do my best to not ruin the mold. What I'm going to do is I'm going to start by drawing new vent lines, and also if that doesn't work, I'll open up the gates a little bit with a file. The two most common reasons why you get dents in your baits are, one, the gates are freezing off too quickly. Okay, if the gates freeze off, that means that the plastisol has solidified inside the gate, right there at the gate, and now the mold can't work as it was designed to do. As the plastisol in the cavities cools off, it draws on the hot sprue. Okay, because it shrinks, because that hot plastisol cools and it shrinks, so it draws off of that hot sprue to maintain its shape. Right now, if that gate freezes off, it can no longer draw on the hot sprue. So, the baits don't stop shrinking. Now they just collapse in on themselves, and you can tell that that's probably what's happening. But because of how the baits look, that collapsed in look. The other issue that can cause denting is not enough vents, and I suspect that that's the case here, because the dents aren't the baits collapsing in on themselves. It's just more like a shallow depression in the dent, in the body of the bait appearing as a dent. So we can generally alleviate that by letting that air that's being trapped in the cavity a way to escape. So that's where we draw the vent lines at. All right. I'm going to move the camera over and show you exactly how we're going to be doing this today. Right. All right. Here we are. First of all, let's just go over the parts of the mold. This part here is our sprue with the short runner, okay? Then, of course, this part down here is the cavity, all right? And then right here, oh, sorry about that, hit the camera, dang it. Right here, where the cavity meets the sprue, that's the gate, okay? And that's the part where this, because it's narrower than the cavity or the sprue, it cools off and solidifies quicker than either of the other two parts do. Okay, now what are we going to do here today? Well, first of all, show you the vent lines, and I'm heating up some plastisol here, so I can cook that, or so I can shoot this mold and test it after we do the modifications. But here we have vent lines. I don't know how well you can see them, but there's vent lines at the end of each one of these legs. Okay, there are vent lines coming from this corner of the claw down to here. There are short vent lines coming out of each of the tips of the claw here, and then out of these antennae there's vent lines coming. Okay, so you notice there's not really a whole lot of venting for the body here or here. So since right in here is where we're getting the dents, I'm going to draw vent lines from here to this vent line here on both sides of the body. All right, and how we're going to do that is I'm going to use this ruler, this metal ruler, flip it over the other side. Okay, and we'll take this razor blade, yeah, I know it doesn't look new, but it is. They've been sitting in the container for over a year. So anyway, we're going to, let me see. So we got this little post here in the way, this little alignment pin. It was making things a little bit more difficult. Okay, so we want to come from, I'm going to go ahead and rotate this because I'm not comfortable drawing the line quite like I had it as far as how I'm moving the knife blade. Okay, so we're going to put it, let's do it down here. It's easier to see. These do-it molds are kind of kind of a pain sometimes. All right, well, right here, let's do it like this. There's my vent line there, okay, and right into the body. I'm gonna angle it just a little bit because I want to get up there. Okay, I want to get up to more towards the middle of the body. Okay, I'm just gonna draw this, drag this knife blade, and try not to let the knife blade drop down and hit the inside of the cavity and scar it. Okay, but you can't really see it very well, but there is a line. There's a line drawn right there, okay? So now I'm going to do the same thing on the other side. All right? It's like this right here. Draw that a couple times there, just like that. All right. Now I have a, it's real hard to see even without looking at the camera, but there is a line here and a line here going to those other vent lines. So let's go ahead and, wait a minute. Let's do something else first to make sure. I'm going to go at one of these baits we made last week. I'm just going to rip his legs off, or his claws off, and put those back in here. The way to test this, see, this mold almost always shoots really nice. I don't think I've ever had a single dent until I've put these claws in. And once you put these claws in, it blocks off 3 more vents. It only leaves the ones coming right out of the antenna here. So in order to test this properly, we're going to go ahead and put these claws back in and block off those vents. Okay, and nope, they did not close quite right. Somebody isn't in there quite right. Let's see this. Let's try that now. Much better. Much better. So we can do it like this. Well, no, it's still not quite right. Something isn't. But you know what? This is just a test, so I don't really care. Yeah. All right. Let me finish up heating up the plastisol and clamp the mold. And as soon as we're ready to shoot that again, we'll go ahead and turn the camera back on. All right, here we are. We're back. I went ahead and shot all the baits off camera and had to do some more modifications to the mold. I did not open the gates. I don't need to. What I did though was I drew, and it's so hard to see this. Let me see if we can get this up here. Okay, let me see here. Okay, you can see this line right here, okay, and that one there. Okay. Now, these up here, there's actually 2 in here and 2 over here. I just can't get it to show up on the camera. All right, but I had to draw the second one here or along here. The first one was here, okay, and here. The first 2, I should say. First pair. How's that? First pair were there, and then I did a couple shots, and I still had a little bit of denting. So I went in and I drew a line here because the dents were happening in this area. Okay, so I went ahead and drew lines here and here, and that helped a little bit again. We saw some more improvement, and then I went ahead and I drew the lines here and here, okay, from the cavity all the way out to this vent line, and that seems to have finished alleviating all of the dents. Okay, now if you recall, you can see this here, that dent, that was this is the bait that I put on the chatterbait the other day, or in the last video, right? You can see that's a pretty good sized dent, and that's what was happening, okay? And then I robbed the claws off of this one again, right? This one was the second shot. We still had it's so minor you can't even really see it unless you know what you're looking for, all right? But it's right there, right where my thumb was, just a really, really minor one. So that's why I went ahead to do another modification. Okay, now you can, this one here, it's a little bit worse. You can still see that little bit of the dent right there, okay? That's not bad. And if you don't know what you're looking for, you're not going to see it probably. But being the perfectionist that I am, I needed to keep going. You see this here, that's a little tiny air bubble in the plastic there, but here, this was before I drew the last set of lines. Then the last set of lines were the second pair here and here, okay? That was the last dent, right? This one here, no denting, no dents around the eyes there, no dent in the body there, not even a hint, okay? Same with this one here. I only did 3 more, all right? Because I know how these molds shoot, and I know that that if the problem wasn't fixed, I'd still be seeing dents after 3 shots, or within 3 shots. Heck, if I was still getting dents, I'd probably have 2 out of 3 shots that had the dents in them. Okay, so I can tell that we don't need. I can tell that we don't need to do that. Pardon me. And you saw that I just kept robbing from Peter to pay Paul, although I know that saying is supposed to be borrowing from Peter to pay Paul, but in this case we kind of robbed him. We robbed the claws off him. Okay, but this here, I'm just going to show you real quick what you do with the file. Dun, dun, dun. Okay, how you open these gates. And I cannot stress this enough. Do not take off very much at a time, because you can't put it back on. Okay. If you take off too much, well, I'm not sure what'll happen there, but maybe the gates won't pull apart properly from the screw and the bait. Maybe they won't. Who knows what else might happen? But in order to fix in order to fix gates that aren't quite big enough, you generally don't have to take off very much at a time. But when you do it, here's what you want to do. And I'm not going to ask you to do it. You want to take your file, your round file, put it in that gate, okay, and just gently, ever so gently, go forward and go from the cavity towards the sprue. If you slip and hit something, well, you're not going to ruin the cavity when you're going this way, okay? But you could if you were doing it going this way. See what I'm saying? You don't want to do that. Always go from this direction. Just go lightly, just a little bit through that gate, and I might have actually picked up a little bit too big of a file. For some of these molds, the gates aren't. That would be bigger than the gate. So if I have to do this for real, I might actually have to go get a new file if the gates are pretty small. But anyway, that's how you open up your gates a little bit, and you need to do it on both sides of the mold, not just on half. Do it just a touch on both sides to keep it even, and good luck with that. Okay, remember, don't do it unless you're comfortable with making modifications to your molds, right? Because you could screw it up. But hopefully this video will help you prevent that from getting the screw up. All right, everybody. Just to recap, today we modified a mold to alleviate a denting issue. This company that makes this particular mold, they're kind of notorious for having not enough venting in their molds, or maybe the gates are just a little bit small. But that's okay, because they cater to the hobbyist, the guy who's just making a few baits for himself or maybe for his buddies. They don't really cater to the guy who's like me, who is trying to sell their baits. They really are geared towards the hobbyist, in every sense of the word. But today we learned how to. I mean, they have some nice designs. So okay, don't get me wrong, they have some really nice designs. But today we learned a couple ways to work around the fact that their molds don't have as much machine work as some other manufacturers do. Okay, and by that the term and the machine work, we're talking in terms of venting. I think we showed that this mold today just simply didn't have enough venting to ensure perfect baits every time, and we fixed it. Okay, and once the video's done, whatnot, I'll go ahead and fix the other mold, and then I shouldn't have to worry about dents in the bodies anymore. So if you liked what you saw today, and I hope this helps somebody out, If you liked what you saw, go ahead and hit the like button, hit the subscribe button if you haven't already. I think I saw 203 subscribers this morning, so we're getting there. The little rush that we were having on getting new subscribers kind of slowed down a little bit, but that's okay. It'll happen again. That snowball it's a snowball, and it's starting to roll. It's still rolling a little bit. But if you haven't watched the subscriber contest video, go ahead and do that, and then share it and say you shared it, and that will enter you into the contest for the subscriber contest for some giveaways. You know what? I keep meaning to watch that video again so I can tell you everything. You're like, write it down so I don't forget. Tell you everything I said. But I'll have to do that next time, right? But in the meantime, I'll keep putting the link to that video in the description for this one, and share this video too. Okay? Share it with your friends. Share it with your enemies, your families, whoever. And if you already have subscribed, thank you. Thank you very much. And until next time, tight lines and calm waters.